Board games, board games is what we're talking about. Board games and digital marketing. I'm not gonna shout. Today I'm starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing. And today Dina will be joining to talk about digital marketing because Dina's recently been to a kind of convention, and given this situation, you might think that Dina received some instructions, or what's a better word? Instruction sounds a bit, that doesn't quite fit. But
Yeah.
anyway, board games and digital marketing is what we're talking
Talking
about.
about
Board games and digital
more.
marketing. I'm not gonna shout. Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good
Good
whatever it is with you.
morning. And we
How are
just
you,
got a new
Dina?
follower. I am
Oh, awesome.
good.
So you are my first ever guest on the mobile phone. How does it feel to be a guinea pig?
It's okay. Yeah, I kind of like testing things. So, that was all about the theme yesterday as well. It was all about, you got to try things and test. And even if it isn't perfect, you always got to do something. And it's better to do something than not do it at all. So I figure this would be a really good way for us to just jump on here, even if you are on mobile, because it fits with the theme.
I love it. And as regular viewers, listeners might know, is that this is Bezzy Beats and Briefer Blether. I'm now into the 400s, and I am trying to keep it slightly briefer because it, I think because of COVID and because of me having no social connections at all, I had a lot of really long episodes, but this season I've had a few that have literally just been 5 minutes, and then I've gone in
Hmm.
for a Friday daytime playtest. Friday's always fleeting Friday fun, but today I completely forgot so the reason I'm doing it from a mobile phone is because my laptop's not working, but it's actually really cool that this allows me to stream from my phone, which it's kind of just about easy enough that I can manage it, and I do enjoy kind of having that one thing to punctuate the day, if you know what I mean. So I
Hmm.
found that having that one thing, afterwards it was like, do I stream, do I not stream? And then the truth is that getting to do it, it was kind of just a really nice grounding exercise. Do you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
routine.
Yeah, and I think it's fun because last year at this time when we were streaming together, I was on the phone, and this time you're on the phone. So we're swapping.
Yeah, and you can probably see that one of these cameras is a lot more stable than the other.
Yes, and I also have like ring light so I can make myself brighter. Okay, that's a little bit too bright.
All sorts of fanciness.
Yeah, so we're swapping around.
And hello, CD. It is lovely to see you. I have
Hello.
basically the screen was completely busted. This is Dina. Sorry, I should actually. Oh,
Oh yeah,
it's
my
going to
name
be,
tag.
but it'll be
Hello,
honestly.
J.
And hello, Jay Foolsguard. It is lovely to see you. But to answer Dina's question about what I need to repair the laptop, it's the whole screen is broken. I have sent it to the Apple Store. Unfortunately, as an Apple, it is quite an expensive piece of equipment, and it is an annoyingly substantial cost. Thankfully, I am in a privileged position right now that I can afford it, and so that's really good. But yeah, they told me that it will be up to 10 days, but we'll see how long it actually takes. That's the kind of caution.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and
so,
I
oh,
wrote the
sorry.
update on Kickstarter yesterday, and there's like 20 people who are wishing all the best for your computer, and good wishes to you as well, who have to cope without the computer.
Mm. Yeah, I saw, like, so many comments, and it was really nice. I didn't want to. I was struggling to log into Kickstarter, and then I finally managed it in the middle of yesterday. It took me a bit of, yeah, like,
Yeah.
yeah, but then I
Luckily,
didn't
I
want to
can.
reply because I don't want to make people feel bad. If people want to say, actually, I am bothered about this, I want people to have that opportunity, like that
Mm,
space to say. And I really do want that genuine feedback. But I
mm,
think that we are going to have to make a decision based on what Vagard said. We might have to make it today, potentially,
yeah.
if not tomorrow. And so, given the outpouring of support, um, yeah, actually, let's talk about that in just a minute. Today, we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about a few games that I've played. I've played Manhattan Project and also
I
my own
played
Kitty
some games
Cataclysm
too.
and this. And then we will talk about that very quickly. And our main topic for today is going to be Latercon, if that's the word. Andy will share a few tips. But first of all, let's go in and talk about recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights, recent highlights. And hello,
Woo!
Ion Freak. Thank you very much
Freak!
for joining
Hello!
us.
And thanks for the follow.
So, Dina, what
Yeah.
are I'll actually, let's go with
What
our
is my
joint one
recent highlight?
first, which was the update, which I just felt I was really overwhelmed with the support. And like, when he said, "Oh, things are popular," I was thinking, "What? How many comments have there already been? You only posted that like a couple of minutes ago." But like almost straight away, there were all these people, and I think this is kind of because I'm not used to having a Kickstarter of this scale. Like my biggest ever one was 280, and so to go
Mm.
to from that to something that's more almost triple the size, frankly, and then you have so many people
Oh,
talking
wow.
about things that they care about, and people saying, "Yeah, please do it." At Essen, we support you, we love you. It was just so emotional, and I was almost brought to tears. It was really
Me
overwhelming.
too. Yeah, like I spent a lot of time like trying to find the right tone of voice with as well, like handling the kind of Kickstarter nobody wants, like the update is not
Mm,
really
mm,
something
mm,
people
mm.
want to because it is it's a negative. It's a possibility of getting people who are angry at you, and those updates are very sensitive to handle. And there I am, sitting there, and I have Latercon in the background, and one of them is just like, you just gotta do it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna mute you now, and I'm just gonna do this update, and I write a little, and then I go back to the con just because I needed to like digest it. Is the voice right? Am I handling it? Like, is the pacing correctly? And I sent it over to you, and you just published it, and I was like, what about the typo in the middle there? So while I was editing and fixing my typo, I was just like getting all these notifications. And by the time I had fixed the like everything that was wrong with it, there was 10 comments, and I was like, what is this? And it was just everyone was so absolutely positive, and I was like, this is so sweet. And it just goes to show, like this amazing community that you are growing and you have around you. They're
Mm.
just so incredibly supportive, and I love that also this Kickstarter was a way to help you build a wider community, and that the people are seeing the love around it, and that they continue with it, because obviously you want your community to reflect yourself, and I think in this case we've proven that you actually did that.
It is really amazing, and I was actually having a very quick chat with someone else yesterday who was saying, "Oh, people aren't going to mind. You can probably get away with it because people kind of know you a bit more, and people understand that it's just one individual. It's not like a big
Yeah,
company where
it's a
and
personal connection.
I mentioned actually Kitty Cataclysm, where I did Kitty Cataclysm, and you know, what is a funding goal? For me, the funding goal should be if I make £1 less than this, it's like my something has gone completely wrong and I just can't afford to do this. Whereas if I make £1 more than this, well, it's not great, but I am committed to doing this. Maybe I have to put in some of my own money, whatever. But the funding goal doesn't mean funding comfortably necessarily. It just means out of these two things, not getting my thing into the world, or putting it out there and possibly not doing as well as I would have liked to. This is
Mm.
the better option. And I think with Kitty Cataclysm, very short story. Once I funded, which was maybe 1,000 something, someone said, "Hey, what about stretch goals? Have you considered a furry box? Because Birds Against Babies did it, so you could totally do that too." And so I wrote possibly a verbose comment. You know how I am; I can be quite verbose. And so I said, "Sorry, I can't quite do that." And then I wrote maybe another 500 words explaining that, they had more backers, like how the order of magnitude, like kind of them having 10,000 people versus me having a few hundred, not even selling out of an entire print run, how much of a difference that makes, and how it was simply out of my scale. And even something as small as embossing it does add substantial cost. And
Mm.
then they backed out of that Kickstarter, the next day. Presumably they didn't like the fact, I don't know, maybe they were really hoping for a furry box and they were like, "What? There's no stretch goals? What's going on?" And so, but I do think that, yeah, there's so many people here that I do recognize the names of, and like Fabricio Leotti. Yeah, I didn't realize that was you, so thank you again for watching, and thank you for the lovely words here. And it's just so many names that I'm recognizing, and I'm like, okay, I know who this person is. And I do also think that maybe the fact that I did do it very clearly, this 100 you'll get it then, this 100 you'll get it later, and kind of thinking about that a wee bit. And
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know, I do think that it's just been really nice, and that's been a definite highlight. So let's skim through the remainder. But what
Of my
before
highlights?
we get to the later con, except for the later con, what else have you been up to yesterday, Dina?
I spent, well, technically like today, but 3 a.m. I went photo shoot location hunting because I'd
Ooh.
found this place near me that has like really bright lit white walls, and it's kind of had like a cyberpunky feel because I am doing uh,
Hmm.
5 different costumes for Hyperwars that launched on
Oh,
Tuesday.
I saw one of them with the yellow dress and the purple feathers. That's amazing.
Yes, that outfit was insane. And yesterday I donned a gas mask and I went in a workout suit kind of outfit, and I went kind of hunting in the hallway while taking pictures. And before that, I was down in the bunkers in another outfit, and I took a bunch of pictures there. So I'm editing those today. And then I did some sleeve stream yesterday where I
Ooh.
basically sleeved Hyperverse because I got a copy. I'm so excited. I got a prototype.
So you sleeve
And
all your games, is that what you're saying?
I do. I even have like my sleeve caddy just to make it easier to while I'm working on sleeving them. So I actually introduced
Do you
Fabricio
not find
yesterday
that
to.
when it's sleeved, it kind of reflects the light a wee bit more?
Oh, but that's because you're getting the wrong sleeves. You got to get the right sleeves. So I really like the Tin Man sleeves because they are not as reflective and they slide a little bit better so that there's actually a slight sense of grip when you're holding the cards with your hand.
Hmm.
So they don't slip away. Because obviously, with me having a kid, slipping cards can be an issue. So yes, I do sleeve my cards when they are seeing a lot of movement, and with Hyperwars, that is definitely the case. I mean, you're sliding it on the table and flipping them around, and it gets a lot. Um, and I like to protect prototypes too. And while I was getting the sleeves, I ended up picking up Hokkaido because I've been looking at it for ages and be like, I want this game. And I was definitely right in getting it because I had so much fun playing, even just for 2 players. And I got Fungi because it looks like
Ooh.
the cutest little thing. And it has all these mushrooms. And I just, you go mushroom hunting, and then you bring cider with you and make a bonfire, and then you add cider to it and you cook it. And here's your.
That is a
I
lovely theme.
haven't gotten to play it yet, but I did open the box just to have a look at some of the cards. But I did play Hokkaido for like 3 hours. And this morning I woke up to this box on my door.
Ooh,
That's the highlight. And this is Organika that I backed on Kickstarter. So this is actually the second game I'm getting on Kickstarter for a year now,
ooh.
even though I've been backing for nearly 2,000 euros worth of games. So this is the second one that's actually arriving to me. It was on Kickstarter in May, so I actually interviewed the game designer at MeepupCon, and I hadn't encountered him or the game prior to MeepupCon, and I just like, hey, you're new. Let's have a chat. And then I looked at his game and I was like, oh my gosh, I need it. So it's like a tile placement in black and white, so it's like really colorblind
Ooh.
friendly, and it's just about matching the shapes, and it just looks like a really cool game. So I'm gonna open this later. Um,
Do you
and
want to open that while I talk about what I played?
I could do that. I could do that. I have some scissors around here, and
Okay, so
everyone
what
gets
I
to
played
watch with
yesterday,
me.
because I went to the pub, and Wednesday is the day when Haringey we do things. I said that I was going to take Manhattan Project as the main game of the night.
Oh
So before that, we
gosh.
played a couple of games of Kitty Cataclysm, which the other three players hadn't played before, but have obviously played. It's one of my games. I'm quite
Mhm.
proud of it. That went down well. And for those who don't know, it's chaotic. It can be quick, and yeah.
Mm.
We've got then as my main game, I did Manhattan Project, which is a game published by the sadly deceased James Maffei and
Mhm.
designed by Brandon Tibbetts. Now, Manhattan Project is up to 5 players. We played with the maximum player count. You've got a whole bunch of different meeples, and you've got your regular workers, you've got your sciencey thing people, you've got your engineering people, and then they access different things. And you've got the main board, and you've got your little personal cards. These are your wee personal cards that you grab during the game. And then your personal cards, you can go in and spy on them using espionage, and you can even do an airstrike. Now, I had all the bombs. I had like the maximum number of bombs, and but I actually never did an airstrike on anyone. Interestingly, because it was kind of
Oh.
like a threat. Do you know what I mean? It was like, don't mess with
Mm.
me, or I've got the bombs to
I got
totally
them.
mess with all your stuff. And it's like this Cold War style thing, and then the bombs, like the nuclear bombs, it's all about building them, and then you get the nuclear bombs, and no one knows when you're going to get 45 points and win the game, because you could theoretically build a bomb, arm the bomb, and get it ready all in one turn. So then once people have collected the plans, it's like, oh, are you going to win this turn? No, okay, phew. Are you going to win this turn? Oh,
I
okay,
love the
phew. And then
tension.
at the end, I managed to win, and like it was honestly whether I had one or the person to before me had one. It was everyone was kind of about to win on the same few turns, so it was really close, except for 2 people who were a bit behind. But you know, between 3 of us, it was really close out of the 5, and that was that. And also, this is a new prototype. It's called a game about grabbing creatures that are totally different and watching out for turnips. So,
Ooh, okay, I like the name. Watching out for turnips. That's the story there.
yes, the turnips were added last Friday or the Friday before. So there's creatures. Whoops, sorry. These 2 creatures. That's the turnip. Um, ignore the turnip for now. These 2 creatures are not totally different because they've got different bottoms, different heads, but they've got the same middle. You would need to have something like not like that. That's got the same legs. Does that work? No, but you get the idea. If it was different legs, different heads, and different bodies, you can grab them. But if you grab a turnip is different to everything else. But if you grab more than 3 turnips, you lose the game. And so turnips are really good, but you're watching out for them and making sure you don't grab too many. And yeah, I kind of, after Manhattan Project, someone's like, oh, I kind of need to leave. I was, oh, this game does take literally about 5-7 minutes, and they were, oh, okay. And then we ended up playing like a good 3 times, and so that was really fun. And I think this
Awesome.
might be my next Bezzy budget bag. Um,
Ooh.
Speaking of which, do think that, as I was saying before, I am probably going to do a small initial print run of 50 and then sell out of that. And then once it's done, do Kickstarters for second editions in future. Thank you very much, Fabricio. And hello, Dutch. Yoda, I'm sorry that I missed you. It's lovely to have you with
Oh,
us.
that's your.
Um, CD, thank you very much for the support. Yeah, I think that there's literally been no one who's said anything. I've not checked. Oh, I should sort the door, I guess. But Fabricio says Manhattan Project is one of my favorite games. So fun and satisfactory. And
Hmm.
Dina, could you talk about the game that you're unwrapping just now?
Yeah, okay. So Organica is a tile matching game where you have these different ships. That is what you are going to create with the tiles that you have available. So you can see some of them are a little bit complicated. So you get to draw one of these, and these are your tiles that you're working with. The cool thing is that the pattern can go from the black one to the white one as long as they match on the sides, and you can put them in any
Mm.
rotation as you want during the game. So it really makes it a little bit of a mind twister because the end goal is just to create this shape
Ooh.
um, for the points. And some of them are really challenging, as you can see. And then you have to think like, what do I have available and how can I make it? And then the
So
kids,
everyone's got different goals?
yeah,
Like everyone's got a different shape that they're trying to make.
yeah.
Okay,
And
cool.
then here are the points that you can get. 1, 3, and 5 points
Mm.
towards your end goal. And the kids expansion that I had to get, it includes some coloring just to spice it up. Let's see. So I found that the trick with these when they are like melted on the seam is literally just to pull.
Mm-mm-mm.
I see some people they actually cut them, and I get the heebie-jeebies. So I was like, cannot handle it. But here are the, so you see here, and then they have to solve the rest of it. So you have
That
a
does sound
start.
really cool.
I like that the kids version is to me kind of like Ubongo, in the sense that you have a start and a shape that you need to fill out, and then it really requires a kid just to be able to fill the spaces. Um,
Mm-mm-mm. So I guess we'll
and
hear a wee bit more from you about that, maybe in a couple of
yeah,
weeks, and you can give
yeah,
us an update. In the
I
meantime,
can.
I'm going to firstly remind people that you can write your questionably quick questions in the next section. It's not an interrogation, just benign questions. So, questionably quick questions, and whilst anyone wants to put in any questions that they want, whether it's about the main topic of Latercon or not, and I will talk about a brilliant thing, plus a little thing which is brilliant. So, Dina, why was Latercon brilliant? Why is
Okay,
meeting people
so
for those kinds of things brilliant?
okay, so the thing with social media managers, let's see, I'm gonna find a space for the game there. The thing with social media managers and people who work in marketing is that it is an insanely kind of lonely job. You do the thing for other people, and you're basically like creating conveniences. You're trying to like, what is the message, and analyzing a lot of data, and you're spending a tremendous amount of time just on your own. It's you and the data. It's, like, and you and the pictures, you're editing, and sometimes, you're writing the caption, but very rarely does a lot of social media managers get to like be, solely focused on one community. Like me, I have somewhere between, 10 to 20, 30 clients at any given point, and I do some for everyone, but I don't, I'm not their community. I'm helping them create a community around the other person. And
I was thinking
I
the
know,
same as Yoda.
yeah, yeah, it is a bit
Doing something
ironic.
called social is lonely. How ironic, says Yoda.
Yeah. But we are creating the social aspect for other people. We're not creating it around ourselves, or, like, we're not the social part. It is the company and their community. We're just the voice of the company. And it basically means that you're a little bit like a shape-shifting chameleon every day. You're swapping your mode and your words that you're using to fit the client. So twice a year they do Latercon, because it's nice to bring everyone back in, and then, kind of like a relearning and just touching base with everyone and checking in. So they make it kind of like a party. There's a DJ, there's a break, there's
Wow.
there's dancing, and we started yesterday with a guided meditation, which was amazing.
But this
Just
is
because,
all online when you say there's
yeah,
dancing and stuff, but this is kind of people standing and dancing behind their office chairs, I guess.
it is, yes. And so it was really cool because, so every year there's twice of them, and it's just nice to touch base to see if what you have learned from the clients that you are working with is the same as other people have noticed. And we can also start predicting a lot of trends based on the accumulated data that we all have together. And there's a bunch of networking. So for example, yesterday I found an illustrator who actually works within, games, but haven't done board games, that I'm now chatting to. And it's a nice way for me to expand my own our network. So if I have a client who needs this particular type of artwork, I know exactly who to push them in contact with. And I love that part.
And bye for now, Fabrizio. Have a lovely day. And
Have a lovely day.
Fabrizio, for those who don't know, Dina, I don't know if you can maybe share the link to Fabrizio's campaign
I
in the
can.
places. And that is something that's just gone live. And feel free to give a 500 character pitch, which I think is about the maximum that you can show
Oh,
on the
I
thing.
was, I was
Basically,
so prepared.
it's a real-time game, and the thing that sounds really cool to me is how it uses these somewhat strategic cards. I've not played it, so I don't know how well it's made. So, I mean, Fabrizio seems nice, and I'm sure that they're a great designer, but what I really love about it is that you've got these cards. The cards let you do actions, and then when you do the action, you pass it to your left, and then at the end of the game or at the end of the round, any number of cards that you've got left, that's deducted from your score. So you want to keep doing action after action after action to clear your hands of these cards, and that's just a really nice, simple way to bring speed into a somewhat strategic game. So that seems really, really nice, and I could see that coming for a lot of peeps. So there you go. Do you want to read out what you just typed?
Okay, Hyperwars is a fast-paced, real-time area control cyberpunk-themed board game for 3 to 5 players. In it, you compete about being the best corporation at shuffling illicit products on the black market. I think it's really cool because the player interaction is literally, like hand crushing in those intense 5 minutes where you're playing the game and you're shuffling other products around, and you are sending out your special agents on the board around in the town of Urbana. And a couple of times, like, you're bumping hands with the other people and you just stop and you're laughing, but you also need to like focus. So it's a really cool way because obviously with me having ADHD, I hyper focus. So I get really deep into the game, but it's so nice because I can stop after 5 minutes and then the alarm goes off and I'm out and I'm like, whoa, that was so cool. That's so intense. And then you dive
Yeah, I
right
think
back
with
into
a real
it. It's cool.
Sorry. I think
That's
with a
okay.
real time game, if it's longer than 7 minutes, let's say, I think that you need punctuated moments. I think that's
Mhm,
why, yeah, like Grabble works well because that's literally just 1 minute. And
mhm,
even when I've extended it, it's like, okay, for a special event, rather than playing with one deck, now we're going to play with 10 decks all mixed together. And then I've done that, and then people play, and then they're playing for like 7 minutes. Before, and they're like, oh my gosh. And then, like, after 2 minutes, they're like, oh my gosh, this is exhausting. But it's like a nice climax. But I
and
think that
it's kind
having
of like a good,
rounds
yeah.
with real time and then real time and consider for a normal game as opposed to like an event game, if you know what I mean, like
Mm,
a one off special event. I think that's a really nice way to do it. And then you've got, um, I'm trying to think, even Escape, that does have little pauses in the middle, doesn't it? It's like bits where you're able to take a breather, but. Um, and like you could say that Galaxy Trucker, it's got this fun assembling bit, and then it's got like, okay, you roll the dice and you see what's happened. So some people might argue that the rolling dice bit is a bit too long, but and if you
it,
want to check it
yeah.
out, it's bit.ly/hyperwars, which is quite cool. You get to make a fancy little short thing rather than having to do, okay, here's a thing that no one can remember how to type.
Right? And then they get so long after a while too.
Mm-mm. But anyway, back
Mm,
to the Latercon. What did you learn?
mm.
Tell us the
All
top
right.
three things that you learned
Top three things. Wow. Okay.
with the easy
Um,
questions.
okay. So when it comes to social media, take for example, let's start with TikTok because that was a big part, obviously, of the conference. On TikTok, we're starting to see a trend where things that are trending on TikTok takes about 2 weeks before they're trending on Reels, Instagram. This basically means that as long as you're adapting to the trends on TikTok, you can schedule those in advance for releasing on Instagram in 2 weeks later, which means that you basically have a lot of like content archived that you can push out later. And that gives you a lot of adaptability because you need to only focus on the TikToks and following that, and then in 14 days you can push the same content on a different platform to get the most amount of reach. And when viewing the data,
Why
yeah.
14 days? Why not? What's the advantage in doing it 2 weeks later rather than at the same time?
See, that's the cool thing. Apparently, it takes the algorithm, so like to know what is trending, it takes them about 2 weeks before the Instagram people are responding to the same trends. So from what is trending on TikTok, before people start to pick up on it and start pushing it on Instagram, it takes about 2 weeks before a trend moves over to a different platform.
So
And
you're
it's
saying that
very
if you
odd.
see so TikTok, for those like myself who don't really use it, it has hashtags and all of that stuff. And so you'll be
Mm.
looking at, okay, what hashtags are prevalent, and basically to actually get into the nitty gritty of it, it's looking at what hashtags are popular, what hashtags are popular enough that more people will be looking at it, but not so popular that you're overwhelmed and oh, like it's oversaturated, and then you get that information, and then it's going to be very similar in Instagram 2 weeks later. Is that basically what you're saying?
Not quite. So, in terms of trends on TikTok, we're talking about sounds, music, types of content, like so how you're replying to, say, one of the things that has happened in the board gaming industry on TikTok has been dusting your shelves while responding to other TikToks, definitely being a thing. Just like
Okay.
the dusting your shelves is a piece of board game TikTok content. And that at this week should be transferring into Instagram, and we should start seeing it on Reels. Another thing that's happened a lot on board game TikTok is, making drinks while talking about board games. I'm sure we've seen this. They are now starting to crop up onto Instagram because it takes a little bit of time and other content creators. I saw one last week who is actually doing the same trend from TikTok on Instagram, and he was one of the first. And I haven't seen any other takes yet. So it just seems like the Instagram people are slower at responding because they're not as active probably on Instagram. So it kind of lags behind. And that the consistency is about 2 weeks across all categories. So like us in board games and music industry are seeing the same thing when we're then collating all the data that we have gathered during the year, and then we're comparing it, and we'll actually, yes, this is a thing. And that makes it easier for social media
So
managers to
if
then
if
go,
the trend is 2 weeks in the future, wouldn't you
hmm.
want to be like maybe slightly before that? Like maybe even yeah.
So if you are doing it 2 weeks, that's when it's gonna. So you will be at the forefront. If you wait longer, say if you wait a month, then you're going to be in the middle of that increase before it then becomes old news, because then it's been done too much on TikTok. While as the content on Instagram kind of lives a little bit longer than TikTok content, while as TikTok will kind of circulate after a while and it will refresh from older trends and then bring them back. That doesn't happen on Instagram. On Instagram, there's a trend, and then there's a new trend, and then a new trend, and a new
Mm.
trend. And it is always the different takes. And there's very little circulation, so old content doesn't get brought back up. While as TikTok, there is this circular feel to it. It's more kind of like, yeah, it's a circular life on TikTok where old trends gets new interpretations, and then that circulates for a bit, and then something else comes back up, and then new ways of interpreting a spin just keeps on going.
Mm. That so yeah, I get it. So you're kind of for people who are doing reels or videos on Instagram, you're saying if you are on TikTok, that's a way to almost get future data. And if you care about getting more people looking at your stuff, which if you're doing it for the sake of marketing, of course that's what it all comes down
Hmm.
to, then this is going to give you a way to make your wee videos more popular. Now,
Yeah.
Yoda has a question. Should an old fart like me be on TikTok? I'm not hip or trendy, says Yoda.
See, the thing is, Yoda, I know how old you are, like roughly. And I would actually say that you are the primary target for TikTok. You're in the prime of who are on TikTok and who should be on TikTok. So yes, I think you should, because your age group and my age group, like in between here, that is who are on TikTok. They are 85% in our age group are on TikTok and using it to grow in terms of like marketing and networking, and it's just really thriving. There are more than 20 million small business owners on TikTok right now who are growing their thing and just being there. And that is from, posting one TikTok a week just to test the trend, and then maybe focusing on Instagram, or maybe doing multiple, the optimum seems to be 3 TikToks in a week. And that's still quite small amounts compared to how like the trends has been on what you should do on Instagram for those who are using Reels, which is like one post a day, where one or two of them are IGTVs or Reels. So you're creating less but more focused content on TikTok, and getting more out of it because of the circularity of it.
Hmm. Okay, and a quick hello to Jessica Jane
Hello,
Sankeo from over in
Jessica.
Bangkok. Lovely to have you join us. Thank you. And so what else was it that you learnt at this digital marketing convention?
All right, so let's see. I'm gonna go quickly through my um. That's obviously not interesting. Okay, so obviously we talked it last year about like the consistency, and while that is still super important to stay consistent, the way you are consistent is very much changing. So while it was you gotta do like one reel and one IGTV sort of thing every single week, and that is your consistency. The consistency now is more fluid, so you can kind of respond to trends and your moods more. So the consistency now is more like, as long as you're using all the different types of posts, and that is a consistency in itself for you and this particular account that you're running, and you're consuming the content, then that is enough. So if you're only watching reels, then you should only be doing reels. If you only go on Instagram to do stories, then that is what you should be doing too. So the content that you are uh, absorbing and yeah, consuming should be the type of content that you're providing, and that is the
And this is
consistency
all
now.
because of the algorithm.
The algorithm. More actually to do about the community. So Instagram has changed this year more to be to help small businesses do better on their platform. So they've made it so that the algorithm now noticed what you are consuming and then makes it so that they believe that that is relevant to you, to then show you more of that type of content. So if you only look at posts, then that is what it will give you more of. If you only stop to view the slide post, and that they will stop and try to give you more of that. And by also posting that kind of content, that is the consistent algorithm. Yes.
Yeah,
I
Yoda.
know that.
Nice pun. Algorithm. Mm,
Al Gore.
very nice. Anyway,
Yes.
so
So that's
what you're
really cool
saying
because
is now make sure that you're, if you want to. But interestingly, when I don't look at a lot of stories, and
Mhm,
still the stories for a game about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after someone makes noises did do quite well.
it did.
And
And there's a
how
trick
do
to that.
you? Okay.
Yeah, there was a very specific reason why I went with stories. Yes, they are super easy to post, and we did have, some automation for posting them. But because you've never really done it before, and I tag you in stories all the time, the algorithm has notified that it is, of some sort of value that your name is appearing in stories. So by making it so that you are in that sense responding to a community trend by then creating stories for your community, because your community is already creating stories. Whew, that's a mouthful. Basically, it's boosting you for the algorithmic reasons. And I wanted to test if that is actually really true, because I heard someone who was saying that that has been the case, and we saw that that was definitely true.
Hmm. Yeah, I saw a couple of people who, but it's, yeah, interesting. I wonder if, in retrospect, we should have done a paid advert on Instagram or Facebook at some point with a link, because there was at least one person who messaged me to say, "Oh, I loved those stories that you were doing," and I said, "Oh, thanks. Did you back the Kickstarter?" And they were like, "Oh, no." And I wonder, you know, if there had been an easier link at some point to say, "Hey, this is a link. Please press this," because again it was just £1, and
Mm,
I did price it at that because I was hoping it would be a no-brainer, and I think that's probably what I'll continue to do. Where after the fact, it will go up in price maybe to £2 or £2.50. I don't know, something like that. But
mm,
yeah, with the Kickstarter, I think it does make sense for me to just do, okay, what's the minimum I can charge, which, if I'm running it in GBP, happens to be £1, and then say, yeah, you get a print and play of this, and especially with the international thing, when if Vagard becomes someone that I can work with, and I'm considering working with Vagard almost on a partnership percentage cut, similar to how
mm,
we work together, if you know what I mean.
mm. Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, that was a side. tangent, like, yeah, what do you think? Should we have, in retrospect, done a couple of paid adverts in that scenario for that
I
particular
wouldn't have.
campaign? In retrospect,
Yeah, so for that particular campaign, I think we were getting a lot of organic traction. I think maybe what we could have done would be a stories advertising rather than an ad placement. They are a lot cheaper, and with the focus that we were doing on stories working out so well as it did, I think that would have helped a lot more than running a separate ad. And for your next campaign, when we're doing another as a budget bag, I would definitely do the same thing with running really hard on stories, and then maybe just running one or two paid stories placements.
and then those ones are like a little link that someone can
Mhm.
click on.
Yeah.
So let's talk about back to Latercon, and before we finish up and wrap up, what's his one last thing or one last takeaway, and then you can wrap up with any other information that you want.
Yeah. So I think one of the really important things that they are rehashing, obviously, on the conference is that it's really important to have only one call to action, one call to action. A lot of the time, people are wanting to get the most out of each of the posts, and they will be like, pledge for our Kickstarter, do this, be sure to do that one, check out this, and follow me. And it can get a lot. So, like, just
And
really
just
look
to
at
clarify, that's one call for action per post. Is that
per
correct?
post. Yeah. And often people
So
try to
like you
cram
can
in a
have
lot of action.
multiple, you can have like 10 calls for action if you do like 10 different posts.
Separate posts, yeah. One
Yeah,
picture,
yeah, yeah.
one post, one call to action. So, like, really think about what do
Mm-mm.
you need the community to do, and be very clear about what they can do to help you. What we're seeing now that marketing and community management is shifting to be more sort of organic community. And with organic community marketing, what we're seeing is that what you need to think from like the marketing side of a company is to be what can the audience do to help me get to the next step. So if your goal is to increase your sales, or expand on your community into a EU or US territory, then that as something you have to be really clear with your audience, and also give them tips on what they can do to help you, because people want to help you. And especially with how the world is right now, we are seeing more and more small, tight-knit communities popping up, and they want to help. They just need to know what can they do. So by encouraging people to sharing your content or saving it if it's on Instagram, because that's really good for the algorithm, which makes it easier for them to come back. If it is to, like we were talking earlier before the stream about Profundia and how some campaigns are now starting to use it to get a certain amount of likes so that they can get sent into the newsletter there. And just telling people, like, this is what you can do to help me. Send it a like,
Mm-mm.
and we get sent into the newsletter. It's just a small action that you just need to click like two buttons and you've done it, and they get to
Mm.
have the good feel of having helped you, but also they had the direction on what they could do to help you. And just like mindlessly sharing or tagging people in the comments is starting to look more and more like spam, and we want more good ways to help that doesn't inconvenience our own views on social media. So like if I'm tagging someone in a giveaway post that doesn't look good, but what I could do instead is, fan it on BGG, or subscribing to them on Board Game Geek, or, sharing it or saving it, just to help them in a better way to boost their presence. And to be really specific
I'd
about
like
what
to
you're
pick up
asking.
on one wee thing you said there. So I've seen a lot of competitions on Instagram. I've not run one of these myself, where it says tag someone that you would like to play this game with, or tag
Mm.
a friend that you would like to take out on a spa day for two, or whatever. Or and so you're saying that those sorts of competitions are really something that you shouldn't be doing.
They are losing favor, and they're actually losing out on potential people who would participate in it if there was another way to participate. If there was, instead of tagging, because that is spam, you're not really gaining any audience on it. Like, what is it really giving
Mm-mm.
you? It is you being spammed by a multiple people to a bunch of other people who could potentially become a part of your community, but they opt out because it is spam. And it's just like how you're writing a newsletter. You don't spam people. You don't write them a newsletter every single day. You maybe do it once a week or twice when it is, important. And the same thing goes for socials. And we're starting to see less and less of these types of engagement, tag and share type of giveaways because they're not really healthy for the ones who are running them. They don't benefit anyone in the end
Mm-mm.
beyond getting more comments.
And Yoda says, I don't do the tag another person giveaways. People hate it when I tag them.
Exactly.
Yeah, same.
And
I've never
marketing
done
people
that.
need to get onto that. It is awful to get tagged. And obviously, I don't really get tagged. I was tagged once, like this week, which was fun because I knew I was gonna write something about doing those kind of giveaways. And then I was like, oh yeah, it's actually still a thing, and people are doing it in the board gaming community. And there's just so many better ways to drive that community engagement, like having a poll, for example, where people get to share their opinions and you can be really clear about what you're wanting them to participate with, is still giving you the same
Mm-mm-mm.
amount of comments, but it's easier for them to participate without spamming their own, network.
And yeah, with a poll, it should be something actionable. And it's actually really lucky that with a game about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after someone makes noises, there was something legitimately actionable that,
Hmm.
for the sake of running a Kickstarter, I wanted to take out a certain number of creatures and yeah, put in something different for the second edition. It might be that, yeah, if I were to do a first printing of, because these are so interrelated, it's not like I can just change one of these of a game about grabbing creatures that are totally different and watching out for turnips. I guess I could, draw different turnips because the turnips are kind of their own thing. It could be like,
Hmm.
hey, for the second edition, should we have turnips or should it be watching out for Swedes? I don't know. I mean, I like the word turnip. I think turnip works well. I don't know. But yeah, I would be interested to.
And interestingly enough, turnips used to be the original pumpkin for Halloween decorations, so I definitely think
I
turnip
did not
belongs
know
there.
that.
You're
But yeah,
welcome.
anyways, so it felt like it did go really well. But if you're having a poll, I really hate it when people say, "Oh, um, which of these do you prefer?" And they have no intention of using any of that feedback. That's just obviously again spammy.
Hmm.
And I think this
Yeah.
is what it comes down to. Yes, you can use all these techniques and all that future gazing from TikTok and all of this stuff, but it has to be genuine. You have to care
Mm.
about what people are saying. And I really like, sorry to big up my own trumpet, but yeah, like Chris on and Layla who are helping on the LDEC Twitter. And
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, I was just reading a couple of the replies yesterday where it's like, oh, cool. I see that you've got these mint because the question of the day was, have you ever tried designing a game? So it says, yes, absolutely. And then Chris had looked up their website to see, okay, they make mint tin games and said, these mint tin games look really cool. Which one was your favorite to design? And then there was a bit of a conversation. And yeah, that's like a fun thing for Chris to kind of chat about.
Mm.
It's nice chatting about these things, but it's also because genuinely it's about just yeah, learning about people and finding out what's going on. And that kind of stuff has to matter because why are you yeah, you have to care
Why do you
ultimately.
ask? Yeah. Like, what are you wanting out of the community? What is the questions that you're asking? Is it relevant? Does it add value? Are
Mm-mm.
such
Because if
important questions.
if you're asking someone for something and then you don't use what they said, okay, like it's fair enough if it's a poll and not everyone can be happy. Let's say 49% votes for one thing and 51%. Oh, that's going to be like a terrible joke forever. I didn't mean to bring
Uh,
politics into it, but genuinely,
oh,
that was like one of the polls for the Instagram. It was like that. It was like that close, And sure,
Mm-hmm.
or it might have been for Switzer, sure, almost half the people are going to get upset, but it's one of the things, and I am using that data. I wasn't asking for lots of investment of writing, whereas if I
Mm.
was asking for, hey, the more you ask for, the more it should be that you use it, because otherwise you're kind of wasting people's time, frankly.
Yeah.
And it feels like abuse is a strong word, but yeah, it is an abuse of the time. Is that fair to
Yeah.
say?
Yeah. And obviously that goes
Anyway,
back
we
to
have
just add value.
run on quite a bit, so let's quickly wrap up with over to what are you up to? You can share, but only if you want to. So after this, everyone feel free to share what you're up to. I am going to be chatting to Chris. Chris is now working 2 days a week. We'll see how that carries on for the foreseeable future, and if the
Mm.
Kickstarters continue to go as well as the one for a game about wee whimsical creatures and try to identify their monsters that make noises did, then that'll continue on, because I thought, okay, let's try and yeah. But I'm going to be doing a wee bit of that. I might be seeing Layla later on this evening, and then
Mm.
tomorrow it will be, as usual, my Fleeting Friday fun, where I talk just for 5 minutes ish before I go to Royal Festival Hall. And it might actually be from inside Royal Festival Hall this week, where I say, hey, this is what it looks like inside, this is where we play test. And so I will show you all. But what are you up
Yeah.
to, Dina? What is everyone else up to? Dina, what are you up to?
Mm. Okay, so this week I am finishing writing a Kickstarter page that is launching on Tuesday. I'm working with the
Oh,
videographer to get the video ready, and Hunger Gamer is doing the voiceover. So we're trying to make everything fit in a really short time because there was been some delays and us waiting to get the script approved, which has been a really long journey. Um, so it's gonna launch, so that's gonna be interesting. And then obviously I'm making up some
nice.
more ads for it, and I'm handling Hyperwars with Dice Coalition Games and Fabricio, we've probably seen here. Um, I am actually I got a
So you've got
request of
quite a
the
few things at a time that
yeah
you're working on. Like, I mean, if
I
you
do,
include like
and
stuff like
Crackit
mine, where you're
Chinchillas
kind
too.
of still
Yeah.
working on, like, how many things are you working on right now or this week?
Uh, this week, do you mean like how many which clients am I working with?
How many
Like what is
Kickstarters
happening?
slash clients are, like, how many
Okay, so
number?
there's going to be 4 Kickstarters. The last one is launching now on Tuesday. So there's been a 4 weeks with one Kickstarter every single week. Then I have a game launch tomorrow with one of my other clients. They are launching a video game which is called Clay, which is super exciting, and I'm helping them with a Kickstarter next year. So this is like the first sort of big. They're launching a demo. And then I am working with Ronin Warrior, who is coming out with a Kickstarter next year. Um, so that's like a really big thing, and we're trying to like frame like how do we start, where do we start,
It does
and
sound like you're
yeah,
just getting more and more clients, so things are going well for you.
yeah. And then
Congratulations.
the thank you. The game designer of Oganika was chatting to me here like the last week, so he signed up as a client for his next game, which I'm waiting for. So I should get that next week. And he's a UK designer as well, so that's nice. With the I'm actually getting more of you people in the UK, which gives me a good reason to come over again. And I would really love that, but we will see if it is ever feasible to
Well,
do so.
we have chatted about quite a bit today. We've been
Mm,
chatting about recent games we've played, such as Manhattan Project, Kitty Cataclysm, a game about grabbing creatures that are totally different and watching out for pumpkins. We did an unboxing. Oh, we talked about Hyper Wars being sleeved. We did an unboxing for what was that game called? Can you show it again?
Oganika.
Um, Organica, thank you. And then we talked about Latercon. We talked about firstly the fact that looking TikTok gives you data for 2 weeks ahead. We got
Mm,
the thing of organic growth, like based on the algorithm, and it's all about engaging with what you're engaging in, like making what you're consuming. And the third tip was that, just think about what you're asking of people. Don't ask them to tag random people because, well, tag their friends. You know what I mean? Because that's just spammy. Don't ask that. And and so and but if you're
Put
watching that,
social in
hopefully you didn't
social.
have to be told
Yeah.
that anyway.
And like we were saying last
Dina,
year
if
as
you
well.
can paste your links everywhere, that would be good. If you can paste it on all the channels. I'm Stuff by Bez everywhere. If you want to follow me, I'm stuffbybez.com, stuffbybez.bickert.com, twitter.com/stuffbybez, instagram.com/stuffbybez, and youtube.com/stuffbybez. And you can also follow the twitter.com/ELL_deck. I am streaming every day at 10 a.m. UK time. Feel free to share, spread the word. I want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to Yoda and CD and Jess and Fabricio for being here. Thank you, Dina, for the lovely chat. It was lovely to have you. And finishing off, and with, and Dina, so it's twitter.com/Dina, or if you, Dina said so, numeral 1. So, and instagram.com/Dina said so, and marketingwithdina.com. Yoda says, bye all, see you on TikTok. Maybe I'll TikTok from Spiel. Ooh.
I think you should. And remember, the hashtag is going to be Spiel21 and Spiel21, and obviously SM Games so far that I've seen of the content popping up.
And if you're there, then it looks like I will be represented there. So feel free to go over and say hello to Vegard.
Yeah.
But for now,
it's so exciting.
The only thing left to say at this point is bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. Now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye-bye, everyone. Oh, sorry, I didn't mention you. Thank you as well, J Guard. Thank you for being here.
Bye-bye, J
Lots of love, lots of love. Bye-bye, J Guard. Bye-bye, Yoda. Bye-bye, Dina. Bye, everyone.
Bye.